Okay, I think that when it comes to clericalism, there are a few dimensions or dynamics that we need to kind of try to think through. First of all, on the part of the clergy, as a cleric in this modern world, these are just my thoughts. They are not the thoughts of the magisterium, but it's me trying to make sense of how or why clergy tend to sink into this mindset of clericalism. But I think that clergy in this modern world struggle quite a bit with this reality of their relevance or lack thereof. Because all of us want to know that we are creating some kind of impact in society. If you are working in the secular world, you would have some kind of impact, some kind of contribution to the state of society, right? Whether it's economic impact, political impact, educational impact, some kind of impact, financial impact. For clergy, our impact is spiritual impact. How do you measure spiritual impact? And that's where the challenge is. So very often as clergy, we struggle with the idea of being relevant to the life of society as a whole and the lives of the people that we are called to shepherd. It may not be something that we are thinking about at the forefront of our minds, but it may be a process or a struggle that's taking place in the recesses of our thoughts. So we may not be thinking of it openly like that, but it's running in the background, this idea of how relevant I am to my people. That fear of being irrelevant because I'm just a spiritual leader. At the end of the day, people's lives can go on without me because it's just religion. With or without religion, for many people, life goes on. So, in order to sometimes compensate for this lack of a sense of relevance, some or many of us may end up trying to make ourselves relevant by asserting dominance so that people feel that they cannot do without us. We try to be dominant in their lives, So that's one possible reason, that I think some clergy may become clericalized in their mindset. They want the lay people to see them as significant. They want to be dominant, to be outstanding in the lives of the lay people. So they want the lay people to admire them. They don't want the lay people to just see them as side stories in their lives, nice figures that are nice to have, but with or without, we can go on because the clergy have nothing to do with our daily lives anyway. So that's, I think, one reason, that insecurity, that causes clergy to exercise a certain form of clericalism. Now, then on the part of the laity also, it's true, that for many laity, they exercise double standards because religion in the modern life is just not something that features very prominently. And this actually is something that very much corresponds with my doctoral research, about life in modern Asia. That for Asians, we may be practicing that outer form of the religion, but religion now, for many of us in urban settings, is not like what it used to be anymore. Because during those days when we were agricultural communities, rain and sunshine depended all on God, on our belief in the divine. When my crops are not growing well and I need rain, there's no one to help except God. So God or religion could not be separated from our economic life. But now, God can be relegated to a corner. And if I'm brought up, say, in the Catholic faith, then I will give my due to God by coming to church on Sundays for Mass. But other than that, I am in perfect control of every other aspect of my life. And therefore, I do not need God to infringe into other aspects of my life to tell me what to do or how to live my life. And on the same note, I don't need the priests or the bishops or the deacons to tell me how to live my life. So just as religion can be relegated to a corner, so can the clergy of the church. So can the role of the church in my life be relegated to a corner. And I think for many lay people, it's like that. But Mass, they still come. So for me, the fact that our churches are full during Masses does not say anything about the depth of our discipleship, about how deep our relationship with God is. Yeah, we may just be practicing the outer form, in which case we are basically cultural Catholics. We were brought up to exercise our faith that way, and so we continue practicing it. We comply, but that doesn't mean that we are truly following the spirit of the gospel. And for many lay people, it's like that. And therefore, they do not want any kind of heavy responsibility over the church, because they want to focus on their own immediate concerns, their economic concerns, their financial concerns, their own relationship concerns, their career concerns, or even national political concerns. They don't really want responsibility or equal responsibility over the church. And so if I do not want equal responsibility over the church, then I will just give all this responsibility to the priests, to the clergy, and let the clergy take care of the church while I take care of my life outside. Yeah. And so because of that, many of our lay people do not feel that they need to learn more about the faith. But they will go for courses to upgrade their knowledge and their understanding about their careers and their occupations. But they will not go for faith formation to learn more about the faith, because that's not my business. And many of them say, I love God, that's enough. I don't have to study the faith or know the faith. I just love God, I practice my faith, that's all. The bare minimum that's required to get into heaven, or so they think. You see, so they just leave the whole church into the hands of the clergy. So what I'm trying to say is, clericalism cuts both ways.
Yes, indeed.
On the part of clergy, clericalism comes perhaps because of insecurity on the part of the clergy, but clericalism is also equally the fault of the laity, because they are the ones who refuse to hold equal responsibility for the church. They do not want to learn the faith, and they prefer the whole church to be managed and run by the clergy. They do not want responsibility over it. So therefore, Father, we give you all the permission to do whatever you want in the church. We won't question, because if we question, we have to share responsibility. So let's not question. Let's leave everything to the clergy. And for many years, I think it has been like that. Yeah. And both sides actually have been quite comfortable with this dynamic, to the extent that it actually has come to an equilibrium. We put up with that situation because it optimizes the happiness of both sides. So clericalism is not just the fault of one party. It's something that has to change in all our mindsets.